We're pretending. We're pretending that my hair is fine. We're pretending today. Welcome to the live stream. Thank you. Thank you for the compliment about my sweater. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the live stream. Oh. My new webcam is doing some fun stuff, like highlighting how tired I am. Welcome to the live stream. Listen, y'all, we've been working on our 100th episode. Oh boy! Oh boy! Oh boy! It's gonna be wild. I also never sleep. That is very true. I do not sleep. It's because I have 2 podcasts and a full-time job, like an idiot, like a dumb dummy. And I recorded. Well, by the end of the month, will also have recorded 5 guest spots because I just like to go on. I like podcasting. I like to be on. People are like, be on my podcast. I'm like, sure. What's it about? I don't care. I don't care what it's about. I'll be on your podcast. Does my voice sound good and cool? Welcome to the. Maybe I'll have some water. Ooh, recording summary day. Yeah, y'all have 2 more days. Less than 2 days. To get your summaries in. Your summaries for the 100th episode. Here's the thing. Just sort of like conceptually, the 100th episode is going to be a banger, but also like we probably won't have time for everyone's summaries. So we will be like spreading that out over future episodes as well, more than likely, based on the amount of stuff that is coming in. Do I know how words are? How words are. How is everybody? How are y'all doing today? Saturday, March 20th, depending on where you are. It might not be. It could be tomorrow where you are. People are great. Dead inside, sleepy, tired. I'm all of those things. Fantastic. Hungry. Oh, I'm hungry. Oh, I haven't eaten today. Oh, no. Dummy. I did have to I got up at 7 a.m. on a Saturday because I had not yet finished writing my But Make It Scary for the But Make It Scary that I recorded this morning with the Pod and Prejudice ladies. So I woke up at 7 and I did that. And then I recorded that. And then I laid down in my bed for like an hour. And I still need to eat. Taco Bell. Pancakes. Ooh, nachos. Ooh, all of that sounds yum. All of that sounds super yum. I'll eat after this. For those of you who are patrons who are coming to the fanfic roundtable that is going to be after this, I might be eating during it. And that'll just be what happens. Yes, Pod and Prejudice on But Make It Scary. And if you want a spoiler, you can't have it. But I bet you could guess without even getting any clues. I bet you could guess what movie they're doing. Okay. Okay. Are we ready? I think we are. There isn't a whole ton of people here today, but that's because I didn't do a very good job publicizing this because of aforementioned things that I said about tiredness. So, am I doing Pride and Prejudice 2005? I am doing a Pride and Prejudice related movie on Pride and Prejudice as well. Okay, you know what? I'm not going to get into this. This is too spoiler-tastic. There's all sorts of spoilers up in this. So I'm going to start reading fan fiction now. I'm going to read 3 today, and I know that the author of 2 of them is in the chat. So let's get into it. Okay. We are going to start with a fan fiction called Crab's Secret. And the summary is Crabbe has a secret. Draco has a plan. What could possibly go wrong? I see you in the chat, Arthur. Arthur? Oh, Jiminy Criminy. Am I going to be able to do this? Yeah, it's fine. Okay. Gotta get one more drink. Okay, I have a plan, came the voice of none other than Draco Malfoy. His plans were never particularly great, so this should be rather interesting, Blaise thought to himself while looking up from his potions essay. The group of fourth-year Slytherins were gathered in their favorite spot in the common room, right next to the giant glass panel looking out into the Black Lake. What kind of torture Harry Potter until he falls in love with me plan do you have this time? Theo asked, taking his attention off Pansy and looking at Draco. Oh, shut up. Actually, this plan doesn't involve me. Oh, Blaise said with a sort of amused tone. Who does it involve then? Crabbe, Draco said, looking directly at Crabbe, whose face flushed so fast, almost as if he had eaten some fever fudge from Weasley's Wizard Wheezes. Me? Crabbe asked, pointing at himself. Why me? You have a thing for Potter, yes? Crabbe kept opening and closing his mouth, trying to figure out how to answer. I mean, they all turned to look at Crabbe with raised eyebrows. Well, thanks a lot, Malfoy, Crabbe thought. That was a secret. Perfect, Draco said, clapping his hands together. Here's what's going to happen. A passage of time. I don't even want to go to the stupid ball, Hermione, Harry said, glaring at her. He was still in a mood ever since McGonagall had forced them to practice dancing. Harry, you just have to. I know what I am, Harry yelled. Sorry, I know, I understand, Hermione said, sitting next to him on the sofa. Have you worked out the clue yet? No, but I still have plenty of time until the second task. With that, Harry got up and started to head out of the portrait hole. Where are you going? I guess to find a date, Harry replied gloomily. He slammed the portrait shut, leaving Hermione alone in the empty common room. The next morning at breakfast, Harry got a letter. Who's that from, Harry? Hermione said, looking at the letter in Harry's hands. Is it from Padfoot? No, Harry said, flipping the letter over to look at the backside. Doesn't say. Don't open it. Open it, Ron and Hermione said at the same time. Potter, meet me tonight at 9 in the owlery. Bring your invisibility cloak. Yes, I know about the cloak. See. See? Ron asked, looking over Harry's shoulder. Who could that be? I don't know, Harry said, looking at the letter, confused. Well, who all knows about the cloak? Hermione chimed in. I thought only you guys. Dumbledore, Snape, Moony, and Padfoot. So I have no idea. Who else knows about the cloak? Could it be Cedric? What would Cedric want to meet about? A passage of time. Are you sure that's going to work? Pansy asked with the slightest bit of uncertainty. I mean, Draco hesitated to look from her to Crabbe and back again. Yes, obviously, Parkinson. Do you know who you're talking to? Draco said smugly. Pansy rolled her eyes, kicking her feet onto Theo's lap. So, are you up for it? Draco asked Crabbe genuinely. Yeah. Yeah? Crabbe whispered nervously. Great. Goyle, I'm going to need you to cause a distraction so Nott can sneak in and out of Moody's office. Okay, but are you sure that he's not the real Moody? Pansy asked, still not fully believing. I overheard my father at the Quidditch World Cup talking with a group of other, well, you know, he said in a whisper, looking around. Even in the room full of Death Eater spawn, it still felt odd actually saying it out loud. He said there would be a new teacher this year, and that would be the perfect disguise to get in. And that's all I heard before Mother caught me. I hope you're right because I don't go to balls dateless, Blaze said with a slight smirk. A passage of time. All right, class. For homework, I would like you to write an essay on one of the 3 unforgivable curses to be handed in on Monday. No, Draco said, leaning over to Theo as the rest of the class had gotten up to leave. Grabbing his wand, Theo cast a knee reversal hex on Goyle. What the? Goyle said, hitting the floor with a thud. What the hell, Potter? Draco said, storming up to Harry. What did you do to Goyle? You think just because you're the chosen one, you can go around hexing people? Sod off, Malfoy. I didn't do anything, and you know it, Harry said, getting in his face. Soon the rest of the Slytherins, and Ron and Hermione, were gathered around Goyle, fighting as Moody went over to sort out the situation. Theo took the opportunity to sneak into Moody's office. Acting quickly, he rummaged through the drawers, looking for the potion Draco said should be there. Finally, after what seemed like hours, he found it. Draco was right. He isn't the real Moody, Theo thought, pouring a small amount of in a container he stole from potions earlier that day and sneaking out of the office. He gave Malfoy a silent nod, thankfully still undetected. Well, that ought to do... Oh, no, that's not it. Well, that ought to do it, Moody said, after calming everyone down and fixing Goyle's knees, so they were facing the right way again. With that, Malfoy and the rest of the Slytherins stormed out of the DADA classroom without looking back. Once out of the room, a few corridors down, they felt it was finally safe enough to talk. Did you find it? Pansy asked Theo. Taking the container out of his robe pocket, he smirked. So, you really were right. Blaze looked at Draco in both amazement and shock. Of course I was right, Draco looked at him with a fake annoyed expression. I'm always right, he smirked. Do you have the hairs? Draco asked Pansy. Reaching her hand in her robe pocket, she pulled out a handful of hair. Bloody hell, Parkinson, did you scalp the poor man? Blaze said, stifling a laugh. Not on purpose, she said with a sly smile. But my wand may have slipped and cast the Calvorio curse on accident, though. Damn. Remind me not to mess with you, Draco said, grabbing his own hair with a grin. A passage of time. Well, it's just about 9. I better get going, Harry said. Harry, be careful, Hermione said nervously. You don't know who this person is. This could end badly. I'll be fine, Hermione. I have my wand. With that, Harry left the Gryffindor common room and started his journey to the Owlry. Reaching the Owlry, Harry took a deep breath before entering, being sure to keep his cloak on and wand drawn. Harry saw a figure standing there in the moonlight, but he still couldn't make out who it was. Hello? Harry said cautiously, dropping the cloak but still holding his wand out. Potter? Cedric? Harry said, immediately dropping his wand when he saw the dark-haired boy. What did you want to meet about? I think, Crabbe, think. What would Cedric say? I just wanted to ask you if you had a date yet for the ball. You wanted to ask me to the ball? Harry couldn't believe what he was hearing. Was the Cedric Diggory, Hufflepuff Seeker, one of the hottest boys at school, asking him to the ball? Yeah, Cedric/Crabbe said. I mean, I was kind of hoping someone else would ask me, but I think they're already going with someone, Harry replied, a little sad. He was really hoping Cedric wouldn't ask him to elaborate on who it was. Oh, well, Cedric/Crabbe scratched the back of his neck. If you don't want to, No, I'll go with you, Harry said hurriedly, mentally face-palming himself, hoping that didn't make him sound desperate. Oh, sweet, Cedric/Crabbe replied. Shit, could feel the potion wearing off. I gotta get back, he said as he started to rush out of the Owlry. Okay, bye, Harry smiled. I'll see you then. He couldn't wait until the ball. A passage of time. This couldn't be right. 2 Cedrics? Harry took his glasses off and cleaned them on his dress robes. No, there were definitely 2 Cedrics. One was with Cho Chang, and the other was standing by Malfoy? What's going on? Harry was so confused. He thought he was going to the ball with Cedric, but which Cedric was the right one? That's when Malfoy and Cedric approached him. Hello, Potter. You look less troll-like today, Malfoy said, paying him a compliment. At least for Malfoy, Harry was sure it was a compliment. Thank you? Harry looked from Draco to the Cedric on his left and back. Is this some kind of joke? Of course not, Potter, Draco said, folding his arms. What would make you think this was a joke? Without saying anything, Harry pointed to the real Cedric and then pointed to the Cedric next to Draco. Oh, Draco said, dropping his expression for a split second before regaining his cool composure again. Well, this isn't a joke, but I'll leave that for you and my buddy Cedric here to talk about. With that, Draco went back over to his little group of Slytherins, leaving Cedric and Harry alone. Who are you really? Harry asked, a little hurt if he wasn't going to lie to himself. It didn't feel great to agree to go to the ball with someone only for them to turn out to not even be the real person. You wouldn't like me if I told you, Cedric said solemnly. He did feel bad deep down, but he felt that if Harry knew who he really was, he would run screaming. How much longer until the potion wears off? Harry said, looking at his watch. An hour, Cedric said, avoiding his eye contact. Okay, until then, let's try to have a good time, yeah? Then we can go from there once I know who you really are, Harry said, trying to sound compassionate. A passage of time. Okay, 5 minutes to go. Do you want to go somewhere private? Harry asked Cedric. So you don't have to change in front of all these people? Oh, yeah, Cedric said, looking down at his hands. This was it. This was the moment he had been dreading all night. Leaving the ball, the pair went and found an empty corridor, and right on the hour, the Cedric Harry had been hanging out with was no longer Cedric. He was Crabbe. Crabbe? Harry said, mouth hanging open in surprise. To say he was shocked would be an understatement. Standing right in front of him was the guy Harry had wanted to ask him to the ball. But what did... Harry was finding it hard to form sentences. Yeah, it's me, Crabbe said, staring at his feet in embarrassment. Listen, Harry, I'm sorry about all this. I was just too embarrassed to, ask me to the ball? Harry finished questioningly, still looking at Crabbe in shock. Yeah. Crabbe couldn't be any redder. He was so embarrassed he wanted to make a run for it, but he knew his friends would never let him live that down. But why? Why? Crabbe said, wiping his head to look up at Harry. Why would I be too embarrassed to ask the golden boy to the ball? Yeah, I mean, if you would have just asked me, I would have said yes. Harry looked at him with a slight smile. I've kind of had a crush on you since our second year. Now it was his turn to turn red. You have? Crabbe was astounded. This whole time, he had thought it was just a one-sided thing. I'd probably just ruin my chance then, huh? He said, looking down at his shoes. I wouldn't say that, Harry said, lifting Crabbe's chin so his black eyes met Harry's green ones. Why don't we go finish the night out and see where it takes us? Yeah? Yeah. Okay. I'd like that. With that, the two walked back into the ball, hand in hand, not minding all the stares people were giving them. The end. Ta-da! Story number 1, Harry / Crabbe. A Polyjuice Potion Yule Ball Adventure. And clearly, I have to follow this up with its companion piece. Thank you. This is another Amber original. Its companion piece, Scent of the Dragon. Yeah, I'm sorry, Amber. I got you. I got both ears in one. I couldn't help it. That one refers to the other one. It's its companion piece. It had to be done in one sort of experience, okay? Summary. Harry never really got over his crush on Draco. And seeing what he looked like now, yeah, that definitely doesn't help. This has an illustration with it, and I think it's important that you all see this at some point. I feel like, oh, you know what I could do? I could do this. I have two screens happening. I could do this. I could do, oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Oh, can I do it? I can. I can. Here. There it is. And the illustrations are really, really good bit. Honestly, it's a good bit. It's a good bit. Okay. And now, Scent of the Dragon. No way, Ron said, looking at the latest edition of Witch Weekly. What are you looking at? Harry asked, grabbing the magazine from Ron. Is that Malfoy? There he was, the one and only Draco Malfoy, sitting on a shark, wearing nothing but a towel and holding what appeared to be some kind of shampoo. Damn, Harry thought. He has a really nice body. What is Malfoy doing in a bloody magazine? Advertising, it seems, Harry said, stating the obvious. Well, I can see that, Ron said, rolling his eyes. But why? Harry couldn't stop staring at the picture. He couldn't help but imagine what the rest of Draco's body. We should go. I have to get back to the ministry, he said, snapping out of his thoughts and back to reality. I'll see you this weekend, yeah? Yeah, see you then. Harry realized he was still holding the magazine and opened it up to the same glorious ad as he turned to walk away. Watch where you're going. Oh, sorry, Looking up, Harry couldn't believe his eyes. Malfoy? Obviously, Potter, Draco said, with an all too familiar drawl. What could you possibly be looking at that would be so interesting that you can't even watch where you're going? Draco said, snatching the magazine out of Harry's hands. Wait, Harry's face turned to horror as he watched Draco grab the magazine from him. Harry watched as Draco's face turned from annoyed to shock to his usual cocky self. I like what you see, Potter, Draco said, amused, handing the magazine back to him. Actually, yeah, Harry mumbled, avoiding Draco's eyes. You have a nice body. Thanks, Draco said while looking at Harry with an unreadable expression. Shit, Harry thought. Did I say that out loud? Listen, Draco, I gotta go. Harry took off running. He had to get away from Malfoy, and fast. Did he really just tell Draco that he thought he had a nice body? What the hell was he thinking? I mean, he really did have a nice body, though. Potter, wait, Draco called after him, but it was too late. Harry was gone. A passage of time / location. Harry, why are you all sweaty? Hermione asked, dropping papers on his desk. I ran here, Harry replied, dropping his bag down on the desk and taking his cloak off. Oh, why? She asked, confused. Actually, no, I don't want to know. You'll never guess who I ran into today, Harry said, sitting down and starting to go through the papers Hermione had just dropped off. Who? Draco Malfoy. Really? What's he up to now? He's been awfully quiet since the war. This, Harry said, showing her the magazine. Go to page 18. Wow. He's ripped? Yeah, Harry said, reaching for the magazine. Well, Mr. Malfoy, you can't just... Suddenly, the door to Harry's office burst open, revealing Draco Malfoy and Hannah Abbott. I'm sorry, Mr. Potter. He was really adamant in speaking to you. It's all right, Hannah. You can call me Harry, he said with a slight smile before turning his attention to Draco. Well, I'll be going, Hermione said, following Hannah out. What do you want, Malfoy? Did you come back here to humiliate you? To humiliate you? Did you come back here to humiliate me? So what if I think you have a nice body? So what if... Are you going to let me answer? Or are you just going to keep asking questions? Draco asked with an amused look. Harry went back to his desk and sat down and offered Draco a chair. So, what are you doing here? Harry asked, trying not to think about the fact that the guy he had a crush on throughout school was sitting 2 feet away from him, while also trying not to focus on the fact that he knew what was going on between those clothes. Well, almost all his clothes. You ran off. Well, yeah. I basically just admitted that I was attracted to you, and given how you acted in school, I really didn't feel like you mortifying me in public. Again. Harry cringed as the memories came flooding back. From his date with Cedric, who he did not know was actually Crabbe at the time, to when he was caught by Draco coming out of a broom closet with Terry Boot after one rather interesting party. After a couple of minutes, Harry felt brave enough to actually look at Draco again. Draco had been staring at Harry the entire time with a rather sorrowful look. Harry didn't know Draco had emotions? Potter, I want to start by apologizing for being an absolute git back in school. Harry just stared at him. Was Draco Malfoy apologizing? Is this actually Draco? Are you okay, Potter? Draco asked, in what he hoped came off as a concerned tone. Yeah. Fine. I'm fine. Right. Well, secondly, I wanted to ask for your forgiveness. And before you say anything, I just want you to... Okay. Okay. I forgive you. Potter, you didn't let me explain. Draco, you don't need to explain. I've been... Well, just... No, you don't need to explain. Harry looked away, starting to blush, hoping Draco wouldn't notice. You've been what? Draco asked slowly, thinking he already knew where this was going. Nothing. Just nothing. Potter, have you been keeping tabs on me? Draco smirked, making Harry go redder. Harry couldn't look at Draco. He needed to get out of here. Scrambling up from his desk, he felt a hand on his arm. Potter, don't walk out on me again. I really want to talk to you, Draco said in an almost pleading manner. Harry turned around, instantly regretting as he did so. What makes you think I want to talk to you? I forgave you, sure, but that doesn't mean I want to talk to you. I definitely don't want to talk to you. That's for sure, Harry thought. If you don't want to talk, what do you have in mind? Draco asked with a smug look on his face. Shit, I really have to stop thinking out loud, Harry thought. This, Harry said, grabbing Draco's face and pulling him into a kiss. What am I doing? Pulling away abruptly, Harry looked at Draco with a look of shock and horror on his face. Why did you stop? Draco asked, confused. What? Harry looked at him, sharing the confused look. What do you mean, why did I stop? I mean, Potter, why did you stop? Potter, let's go grab some dinner. Yeah, Draco said, smirking at the mess that was Harry Potter. Yeah, okay. I mean, I did just get here, but I'm sure Hermione won't mind, Harry said, smiling at Draco. Maybe you can tell me about how you became a model then. Draco laughed, shaking his head. Whatever you want, Potter. The end. Yay! Yay! We got some Drarian after the Crabbe/Harry experience. Same universe, clearly same universe. Gotta love that. Got to love that. Thank you for both of those stories, Amber. I love both of them. Amber sent them to me and was like, here's some trash. And I was like, can I please read this on story time? Excuse me. Amber, you're free now. The third story is not from Amber. I'm not that mean. The third story is from Brittany, and it is called Green Like His Eyes. Third story. Here we go. No, I need some water. I gotta get in the zone for this one. Green like his eyes. The waxy surface was a startling green. Nothing like the deep pools of emerald that were his eyes, but green nonetheless. I took a bite of the apple and sighed with pleasure as the tart juices slithered down my throat like a snake. Snakes could be green, too. A much closer green than the garish color of the apple I held, but they wouldn't taste nearly as good. At least, I don't think they would. I took a few more bites from the apple and tossed it aside to lay half-eaten, half like my heart, in the green, green grass. I stood and dusted off my robes to walk slowly toward the long shadows of Hogwarts Castle. My feet shuffled silently as I went, but I didn't have the will to lift them higher. Soon a thin layer of mud from the rain the night before, splattered my shoes. Mud. Brown mud. Just like the eyes of the Ginny girl he had been attached at the hip since the beginning of the year. Didn't he know how wonderful his green would look with my silver? We could be the kings of Slytherin if we wanted to, but no. Potter preferred brown eyes. No one had questioned it the day I had turned most of the things I owned green. I'm a Slytherin, after all. Perhaps they thought I had become extra proud of the fact, but no one could ever know the truth. They could never know the beating of my heart has turned to green. If an 8th year at Hogwarts was good for anything, It was that I could spend more time gazing at him. The details of the curse-scarred castle came into focus as I approached, the grounds scattered with students studying for final exams. I had tried to study, but my brain was too full. Herbology was the worst of them all. I couldn't turn a page without some green thing writhing across the page, so taunting in their existence. Unable to study, I had spent my time in the library, looking up poems to express my love. Wizard poems were dry and meaningless, so I had found a book that I had seen Granger reading once. Inside was a poem that I could not make sense of at first, but something within drew me to it. I open up the crayon box, and what do I see? I see a green crayon, as bright as can be. Green is the color of the fat old toad. Green is the color of the grass by the road. It had taken me hours, but I finally realized that this crayon box it spoke of must have been symbolism for the box of our minds, and that green is the superior color. Green is the color of the earth around us, a toad, the grass, apples. Green is peace and balance. The poet obviously had a great understanding of the world. Hey. He had barely spoken to me all year, but I would know that voice anywhere. I turned on my heel and found myself locked in green eyes. Potter stood before me, Ginny at his side, but her hand was occupied not by Potter, but by Luna. Sensing my confusion, Ginny rolled her eyes at me and shoved Potter from behind to stumble closer to me. His face was red, mouth slightly ajar in what looked like embarrassment. My eyes settled on his robes. They had been turned a milky silver gray. Your robes, we said in perfect unison. I looked down at my own, and he did the same. I remembered then that I was in fact wearing robes that matched perfectly the color of his eyes. I looked back up at Potter, feeling my cheeks warm. Silver. Green, he said. Like your eyes, we said together once again. The end. I love that story a lot. It's so good and nothing in drama. Love some good Harry or Draco being extra drama. Extra drama. Turn it up to 11. Whew! Well, this was a long story time because I felt like it being one. So I'm in charge. Thank you for listening to these 3 fabulous stories. I hope you enjoyed yourselves. If you are a patron, I will see you in 15 minutes for Fanfiction Roundtable. Remember that story times are the 3rd Saturday of every month. And if you would like to submit something to Storytime, 5,000 words or less, something silly, cracky, wholesome, like good vibes all around, send that over to fanaticalfix@gmail.com. Put Storytime in the title somewhere, and we will add it to the list. I'm very excited. I love Storytime. I love it. I love it. I love it. So here we are. Thank you all for coming. Have a fabulous rest of your day. Goodbye. Goodbye. Oh no, I'm not pushing the button. Goodbye. Goodbye. End.